Intriguing revelations from US whistleblowers. They claim that a UFO once disabled a nuclear missile using laser beams. Yes, you heard it right, laser beams. It's not a scene from a sci-fi movie, but a supposed real-life event. The whistleblowers, who are former military personnel, say this happened during a test in the Pacific Ocean. The missile was in mid-flight when a UFO appeared, circled around it and shot it down with a laser. Now, that's one for the books. Whether you believe in UFOs or not, it's a fascinating tale that stirs our imagination. So, what's your take on this? Fact or fiction? Remember, the truth is out there. Thanks for watching.
I was officer in charge of optical instrumentation at Vandenberg Air Force Base from 1963 to 66.
That's
our job
California?
was to photograph. That's California, so right there on the coast.
Right.
And our job was to photograph with high-speed instrumentation every missile launch from Vandenberg going down the test range. They wanted to find out if we could figure out a place to put a telescope where we could get a side view of the missile so that we could see all three stages of powered flight. So I went up to Big Sur, California, up on a U.S. Forest Service road on Anderson Peak, and I installed a telescopic sight up there. The Air Force flew in a huge catadioptric telescope from the Cape. It was built by Dr. Walter Manning at Boston University. They put the telescope up there, and with that thing, which had a focal length of 2,500 inches, we photographed an Atlas missile raising up out of the fog cover and flying down range. We got all three stages of powered flight, and as the dummy warhead and the package flew on down range, we were all celebrating the fact that we had seen the thing and accomplished the mission. When I got back to the base with the film the next day, I was called into the office of Major Florence J. Mansman, and there were three people in gray suits standing in there. There was a 16-millimeter camera and a screen set up. Major Mansman said, "Lieutenant, sit down and watch this." And he turned down the lights, turned on the camera, on the projector, and the film came on. And I recognized it as the film that we'd shot at Big Sur the previous day. Toward the end of the flight, I was looking at Major Mansman saying, "Pretty good stuff, huh, sir?" And suddenly he said, "Just watch this." And as I watched, the warhead, the dummy warhead, the chaff that was put out in front of it as a decoy to deflect the Russian anti-missile tracking radar. Everything was flying along, and suddenly, in the same direction this stuff was flying at about 8,000 miles an hour, an object came into the frame, shot a beam of light at the warhead, flew up to the top, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew around the direction it was flying, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew down, shot another beam of light at the warhead, and flew out the same way it came in.
Well, I don't see it. Why didn't you see this when you were shooting it?
Well, it was 600 to 800 miles away from us.
Oh, I got you.
The only
they
reason,
confiscated.
Well, first of all, Major Mansman said to me, "What was that? Were you guys screwing around up there?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Then tell me what that was." And I said, "We got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant, you are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen." You mind if I speak, Mr. Comedian?
Go ahead.
I was there. I saw the film with my own eyes. I'm not lying. Why would I? I'm a university professor with a PhD and a lot of years of good, respectful research. So the guys from Ulster may not have seen the UFO, but they saw the results of it. I saw the damn thing on film with my own eyes, so don't call me a liar, and you weren't there. I was.
With all due respect, I'm not calling you a liar. It's just quite a step to say there's a film with remarkable images on it that the CIA confiscated.
Which I saw and which they did.
Yeah, which is quite a step from there to say it was definitely a spacecraft from another civilization. That's the leap that the skeptical community is reluctant to take.
Hey, pal, listen to me. I didn't say it was a spaceship from another civilization. I said it was something in the air that we couldn't identify. Therefore, it was an unidentified flying object. It was shaped like two saucers put together with a golf ball on top, and it fired a beam that we assumed was a plasma beam at a dummy warhead and knocked it out of space. Tell me what happened. Tell me who did that. Tell me in 1964 who had that technology, pal. Not us, and not the Russians, and nobody I know of.
There's an old joke in broadcasting.
Are you going to do this with baking soda and vinegar, Bill?
Oh, hold on. We're running out of time.
It's an old joke in broadcasting. Well, it's like trying to photograph a car wreck. At one time considered an impossible thing to do. If you sent out a news crew, let's go shoot a car wreck, that was a joke. Well, now routinely on the nightly news we see car wrecks. We see car wrecks on the freeway. We see car wrecks behind us.
Why was it a joke?
Because there didn't used to be a camera everywhere. There are millions and millions of cameras. There are billions of digital pictures taken every week.
You're not saying there are no UFOs. You're saying that haven't been proven.
I'm saying that it's quite a step to see something you don't know what it is in the sky, to say that there are alien spacecraft
Dr. Jacobs,
that are monitoring our nuclear weapons.
Dr. Jacobs.
Well, I understand that.
Now, so if you're questioning what he's seen...
No, well, I'm questioning the conclusion that the technology did not exist in 1964 to produce images on film that the CIA would want to confiscate.
If I may.
Well, in 1964, you were trying to figure out what. In 1964, you were trying to figure out what girls were. I was in the service in a scientific capacity.
So, sir, you can attack me.
Get off your skeptic high horse, pal.
Well, it just doesn't.
You're attacking us. You're the one who's making ad hominem attacks and saying that's quite a step. You bet it's quite a step.
If I may.
One at a time, please. We got 2 minutes left.
The other former Air Force officer, retired Air Force officer involved in it, was charged with photo analysis of this film. Florence Mansman. He's now deceased.
Florence J. Mansman.
To his widow. I have correspondence, private correspondence between Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Mansman, actually. And 20 years later, they are marveling over what they saw. Mansman's professional assessment at Vandenberg in 1964 was that this was an extraterrestrial craft.
Okay, so he made that conclusion.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
And I can send you, I will give CNN, I'm trying to get the national media involved in this as much as possible. I will send anyone, any correspondent for any newspaper, any radio station, TV station, any scientist, any member of your group, all of the original documentation where these gentlemen are discussing the subject 20 years later.
We're going to do a lot more on this because we do a lot on UFOs. We thank you all for coming, and we thank Dr. Jacobs.
It will go spoop like this and fly over and obliterate Moscow. That's the game we were playing. It was horrifying to think about in retrospect. Anyhow, as the thing was flying along, we saw the warhead eject in over the chaff, and it was flying along. We're going about 8,000 miles an hour now. And suddenly, from in the frame, we saw an object come in from the same way we were going, 8,000 miles. This object flew in. I'm trying to do something here on the screen so you can see. This object flew in. It came up to our warhead. It went around the top of the warhead, fired a beam of light down onto the top of the warhead, went around to the front of the warhead. We're all traveling at about 8,000 miles an hour here. Fired another beam of light, went down below the warhead, fired another beam of light, went around the way it had come in, fired another beam of light, and then flew out of the frame the same way it had come in. At that point, the warhead tumbled out of space. Let me tell you what happened next. Just saying it. The lights came on. Major Mansman looked at me. The 2 guys in gray suits looked at me. And Major Mansman said, "Were you guys screwing around up there?" And I said, "No, sir." He said, "Then what was that?" I said, "It looks to me like we got a UFO." Major Mansman said, "You are never to say that again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen." He said, "You understand?" I said, "Yes, sir."